Luis walked into his first geometry class clutching a notebook covered in formulas, all written in Espanol. He could solve the problems, but when the teacher asked him to explain his thinking in English, the words disappeared. Still, he kept showing up, trying again every day, listening closely, piecing the language together one term at a time. That's the quiet kind of courage we see in multilingual learners. The determination to keep learning, even when communication feels like climbing a wall. And for every Luis, there are countless students facing the same challenge nationwide. Our role as educators is to recognize that courage and make sure the classroom becomes a place where it leads to success. At Ensemble Learning, we've worked with schools across the country to identify the most common challenges these students face and the strategies that make a real difference. In this video, we'll explore what those challenges look like inside real classrooms, the mindset shifts teachers can make to better support multilingual learners, and practical strategies you can use right away to help every student grow in both language and content learning. Let's start with the big picture. When students are learning in a new language, their brains are doing double the work. They're processing content and language at the same time. Imagine learning geometry, science, or history in a language that isn't your own. It's no small task. So what are the main challenges multilingual learners experience, and how can teachers support them? The first challenge is navigating new academic vocabulary. For many multilingual students, it's not the math or science concept that's difficult. It's the words that surround it. Think of phrases like analyze the data or draw a conclusion. Those terms require more than memorization, they require context. A helpful approach is to make language visible. Use visuals, charts, and word walls to connect new vocabulary with meaning. When you introduce a term, show it in use and let students practice using it in context, speaking, writing, and even drawing. What strategies help your students make sense of academic vocabulary? Take a moment to reflect and please share your favorite approach in the comments so we can learn from one another and grow the Ensemble learning community. The second challenge is learning how to express complex ideas before they have the language to do so. Multilingual learners often understand the concept but can't fully explain it yet. That's where scaffolds like sentence frames and modeling come in. Try giving prompts such as, "One way I solved this problem was," or "The pattern I noticed is." These supports help students focus on thinking rather than worrying about grammar. The third challenge is managing different proficiency levels within the same classroom. You might have newcomers sitting next to near-fluent students. One way to handle this is through small group instruction and flexible scaffolding. I've seen teachers use color-coded supports, maybe green for developing learners and blue for advanced learners, so everyone knows which resources fit their level. This transparency helps normalize support rather than making it feel like remediation. Now, let's talk about family engagement, because language learning doesn't stop at the school doors. Families often want to help but may not know how, especially if they're still developing their own English skills. The key message for families is that all language development is valuable. Reading, storytelling, and conversation in the home language directly strengthen literacy in English too. Encourage parents to use translation tools or bilingual settings in school apps. Provide school communications in multiple languages. And most importantly, remind them that their home language is an asset, not an obstacle. Assessment is another big piece of the puzzle. One of the hardest parts of teaching multilingual learners is fairly evaluating what they know when English isn't yet fluent. That's why it's important to separate language proficiency from content mastery. Ask yourself, am I grading what the student knows or how they say it? Dual goal rubrics can help. One column for content understanding and another for language use. That way, a student can show mastery of a concept even if their grammar or vocabulary isn't perfect yet. Technology is also reshaping how we support multilingual students. AI and adaptive tools can rewrite text at different reading levels, generate visual supports, and even measure student talk time in class. For instance, platforms like TeachFX give teachers data on how much their students are speaking versus listening, a valuable insight for language growth. When used thoughtfully, technology can create personalized pathways for both teachers and learners. But even with all these tools and strategies, one truth stands above the rest. Classroom culture matters most. Students learn best when they feel seen, valued, and believed in. That's why we always emphasize the warm demander approach, balancing high expectations with deep care. Show your students that you believe in their ability to succeed and that mistakes are a normal part of the journey. Encourage collaboration, celebrate progress, and let every voice be heard. At the end of the day, supporting multilingual learners isn't just about language. It's about identity and belonging. When students feel confident enough to use both their languages and take risks, they don't just learn English, they learn how to learn. If you'd like to explore more ideas and classroom-ready strategies, visit ensemblelearning.org. You'll find a library of original Ensemble learning resources, including free tools, articles, educator interviews, and research-driven insights, all designed to help your school empower multilingual learners at every level. Join the conversation by subscribing, sharing your reflections below, and sending this video to a colleague who's committed to helping students thrive in every language they speak.